Hello, hello. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna switch to actually hearing you on the correct spot.
I think I was on mute.
Oh, cool. Can you
You
hear
can hear
me?
me, right? Yes, I do. I can see you as well.
Let's see. Perfect.
Great. Am I supposed to see, like, how does this work? I don't know how it works when there's people.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just admit people as they join.
Oh, okay.
And they will automatically be turned off camera and mute.
Right.
I might have to tell people to keep muting, but I figured we'll just have people
Yeah.
join and listen in if they want to. I've just posted a link to Instagram.
Great.
I'm gonna.
Wait, maybe I can reshare that if you're.
Oh, I may not have tagged you, but
Oh,
I'll
that's
do it
okay. But
now.
I did one in the morning, so maybe this
See.
is fun. I'm happy.
Me too. I'm excited. I will go ahead and just start letting people in, and we will just chat basically. Does
Sure,
that sound
nice.
good?
I didn't prepare anything.
No, me
So,
neither.
okay, good.
Actually,
Great.
well, I have some thoughts, but I'll
Okay,
let
okay.
people in. Because I really want to just yeah, have a nice screen side chat.
Yeah, I love
Um,
this.
I was like, hello, Katja.
Hi, everyone.
Um, oh, sorry. I have like a microphone setup I don't usually have, so I'm figuring it out.
So
Um,
fancy.
yeah, so this will just be the first of, I hope, more of these. I missed doing a podcast, but I
Mm,
didn't want to do a podcast
yeah,
because it's a lot of work. And I was just like,
yeah.
live conversations. I don't know how to do it. So now this is basically a call
A new, a
between.
new, a new form of podcasting is born.
Yeah, maybe. So we'll see what happens. It's a little bit, I guess, what was that one app called for a while? Clubhouse or something, was
Oh,
it?
the app that was very popular during COVID.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
just like that was in a way you just like went and
yeah,
listened to someone's call.
I like that.
So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, let's jump into it. We have a few guests. I'll keep letting people in as we
Yes.
go along. I'll just
Thank you for
let
joining.
yeah, thank you so much. I'll just describe what the sort of idea is here. If you're a guest today, the idea is that you basically get to just listen to two creatives talk about what we're working on and what we're excited about, our process, concepts, all the ideas we have going on. Um, you do not, or basically, you're not expected to join in to React or so on with audio, but please do feel free to put things in the chat. This is the first time, so I will figure this out as we go along a few times. It's a little bit experimental. I'd of course be super interested in just hearing who everyone is, but perhaps we
Mm,
can put that in the chat as well. Just like let us know who you are, what you do, and like link to wherever you want people to connect with you. And we can do the same, Gaia, at the end as well.
sure.
This is recorded. Perhaps maybe Gaia, you can say, and anyone who's joined so far, does it ask you about that when you first join, or does it just
Yes, I had a this meeting is recorded
okay,
thing.
great.
Robot.
So, I am planning to actually post this video. If anyone doesn't want to be seen online, just let us know. It's not a problem. If that seems at all unclear to me, I'm just gonna basically blur everyone
Yeah,
who's not me or Gaia, and um, no need to, feel any form of pressure. And if you're fine with it, just let us know. I just want to kind of, I mean, let them still exist for a while after because there are a bunch of people signed up, and we all know from life that it's just,
yeah.
you,
I've had a few messages saying they would love to have the recorded version. And
yeah,
maybe
great.
maybe that's how it becomes a podcast. Like they just listen to it in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say the one of the ways this format came up for me is that I listen to people play D&D, and there is like one group that has a little talk show that's just like live them talking
Yeah.
about what just happened, and I'm like, oh, That's a cool format. We're not going to
Yeah.
talk about D&D unless that comes up.
I don't know
Um,
much about it, but I know a little bit about role-playing figurine games, but
yeah, yeah.
D&D specifically. But yeah.
Yeah, but what I figured we can do just to start with, I'm gonna break out the little participants thing so that I see if people want to join. I do get a little notification, but I also want to see the chat in case people put anything in there.
Yep.
But yeah, Gaia, this is our call. We are just having a studio hour chat about what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to do it because I know we've been talking about this for a while.
yeah,
So thank you for letting me be the first person.
yeah, and
I don't
hopefully a
because
returning one, I hope too.
yeah,
Because
I
I love talking about branding with you and I love seeing
yes,
what you're doing. So since we're recording it and some people may not know both of us,
yeah,
let's just introduce ourselves. So
sure.
feel free to go first.
Sure. Well, I'm Gaia. I am a brand designer. I mostly help solopreneurs or self-employed people and small businesses with their branding. So I'm mostly focusing on health and wellness industries, creative industries, and I'm also currently trying to step my toes into hospitality industry or
Mm.
like Horeca, as I'm also working part-time as a barista and I really love it. So I want to combine both. I recently rebranded the cafe that I'm working as a barista. So that feels like a first nice step into this new world. Um, so yeah, that's what I do. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 6 years, I think. I've been a freelancer.
Yeah,
I started right before COVID, so maybe 5 years. But yeah, so far so good. There's as you know, there's been a lot of different chapters, but this one feels nice. This current brand design chapter feels really nice.
good, good. It looks really
Yeah,
nice as well. I already have like things I want to talk about, but I'll introduce myself first as
sure, go
well.
ahead.
For anyone who doesn't know me, so I am Anders. I am also a brand designer and dipping my toes in calling myself a creative director these days.
That's new.
Yeah, it is new, and I realized, let's test the waters. But
Cool.
I come from a background in graphic design. That's my training. I've worked as a graphic designer. I've worked as a motion designer. I've worked as a retail designer. That's something I actually do a little bit still. Very wide mix of clients. I always feel a little
Yep.
guilty when I say that I don't have a niche, shame on me. But because I work with fashion, I work with authors, coaches, um, board games. What else? Yeah, so a little bit of everything, and then
Yeah.
I also do printmaking. And I have been at this as a freelancer since 2018. What does
Yeah.
that mean now? 8 years,
7 years.
yeah. And I have loved it ever since. I've had my ups and downs too, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I really work. I guess brand design is the core of it all for me as
Yeah.
well. And we're both based in Amsterdam, so that's we'll see what if anything stands out for people as like, oh, that's some Amsterdam stuff
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, do you know if you're gonna talk with people that are not in Amsterdam
I
later
hope
on?
so.
Yeah. Interesting.
I like to spread these things out. When I had the podcast, I was trying to truly mix
Yeah.
things around. Katja, I see your hand. If you have like questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna take like a quick look around if anyone has like messaged and can't get
Oh
in
yeah.
because I know people have been writing both on Instagram and on LinkedIn and on other formats. So this is how a call goes, This is gonna be
Yeah.
very
I wish there was a place where you can gather all the notifications into one
oh, are
platform.
we inventing an app? That's actually
I
what we're
don't
doing
have,
today.
yeah, maybe. Oh, Katja says she's not in Amsterdam.
Nope.
Great. Where are you from? Oh, Munich.
Munich. Nice. Great. Yeah, everyone feel free to like put your
Thanks.
location and what you do and so on. Because it's just fun to see. I've
Yeah.
never done this kind of thing. Okay, fun. Anyway, I am we have a hello from Paris as well. Great. I want to hear a little bit because it's so unusual to brand something that you're actually working in or at, unless you're working in-house, of course, as a brand designer, but as a freelancer, it's not maybe the most common. So can you just like, what was that like getting making that gig happen? And of course, only share what you want to share.
Are you talking about the
The
cafe you mean?
cafe, yeah.
Oh yeah, very interesting because I've been working at this cafe for a year and a few months. And I've always, when I started and applied, I really went in with the mindset of like, oh, I need like the extra stable income. So that's why I started it in the first place. But I also told them that I am a graphic designer and that if they need help with their menus or whatever, I would love to help them. And they at that time told me that they already have like, because they're part of a bigger group, then they already have like an in-house graphic designer working for them and other cafes that they have. So I thought, okay, fine. And then for I loved it. I loved it beyond the just a stable income thing. It gave me new colleagues, friends, another rhythm in my day-to-day behind my laptop work that was very tired of. And um, and then I kept hearing from like the management team that they were updating their menus, but I only thought they were updating the content of the menu, like making new dishes and updating the price or whatever. And then I didn't think about doing anything at that point, but I had an idea of like starting to reach out to cafes. And then I realized that most cafes in Amsterdam or restaurants are part of groups, and that it would be better if I find the name of the groups that have
Mm.
them so I can work for them. And then suddenly my brain was like, but wait, I work in the cafe who is part of a group. I totally forgot that. So I just sent them a message saying, if you need, I know the cafe I'm working for, so it's called the Villi. I know the Villi have an in-house designer, but I can help with other cafes and other jobs. And they told me, well, we actually need someone because we're updating the menus and we have no one. I was like,
Hmm.
what do you mean you have no one? Like, you told me you had someone. Well, anyways, and we had a new manager at that time. So she was like, well, we need you to upgrade the menus, but we also want to change the design. And I was like, okay, but if we change the menus, then we also need to change everything else so it's consistent. So I designed the menu and then the drinks menu and then business cards and stamp cards, which are still, I'm still waiting for them to be printed. But she was like, oh, I also want us to change the illustrations. I want us to change the website, everything.
Hmm.
Maybe social media, but that's like down the line. But anyways, it just happened in a very organic way. A mix of timing that we had a new manager, timing that I thought about reaching out, and timing of like everything. So yeah, very, very nice. And thanks to her, I also got a new projects
Hmm.
for people that it's a company that does maintenance work for restaurants and cafes.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they're
cool.
the one like coming into um like do repair work or pest control or like gardening and things like that. So yeah, that's what I meant earlier saying that I'm dipping my toes into the industry, which
Yeah.
very exciting. Yeah,
That's so
that's
cool.
how
It's so cool
how it
to
works.
find out these things that are connected to
Yeah,
also like yes, you think of cafe and uh food products,
yeah.
beans, things like that. You don't think about perhaps the maintenance as much because it's this invisible.
Yeah, exactly. I think I wouldn't have thought about reaching out to companies like that if I think
Yeah.
about like working for this industry. I would only
Yeah.
think about working for either like packaging design, like for food related stuff, or like, yeah, a restaurant or a cafe or a hotel.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think about everything else. But now that I'm in it on the other side, let's say, I also realize how many side jobs there are, like invisible jobs that there are
Yeah.
when you work in a cafe. So yeah, nice, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I like it. I'm excited to see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to have them printed because it's been a while and I know it's not their priority right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to.
Do you feel, I mean, we with branding, like that is one frustration sometimes, that it's like
Yeah,
you make things and then it either takes forever before they're produced, or it takes so long that it doesn't happen or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve with with like brand design delivery, or what clients do or something?
Yeah, I feel like the hardest part is for me, like you deliver the brand identity and then you do everything. So it's like the guidelines is pretty clear, and then you make sure everything makes sense. But then, of course, it makes sense to me as a designer, or it might make sense to another designer, but it not doesn't always make sense to the client. So they use it in a way that it's not really how it was intended. I was maybe, or
Yeah.
like there's small tweaks, or some things are not aligned, or things like that. And I know I have
Yeah.
to let go, and it still overall looks better than it was before I
Yeah.
did the job, but it's also hard for me to be like not messaging them every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't leave this space blank, or maybe you shouldn't,
Yeah.
yeah, things like
Well,
that.
it's always because you're also, it goes in your portfolio. And
Yeah,
then, I mean, maybe people never do research this deep, but I'm always just like, well, I did a good brand,
yeah.
but if people go and look at this company's website
That's
after a year,
yeah,
that might not be
yeah, that's
a
true.
reflection of my work.
Yeah, sometimes yeah, on my portfolio, I'm like, oh, click on their website or something, and it
Mhm.
doesn't look at all as how I mocked it up at the
Yeah.
during the design process. So yeah, I don't know if that's sometimes I wonder, maybe you have an answer to this, but sometimes I wonder if maybe my guidelines are not clear enough, or maybe like maybe I
Mm.
should do a better job at also educating.
I've thought about these things a lot because I do like making the guidelines, but
Yeah,
the things I believe the most in are just templates that are pretty restricted in
yeah,
terms of my biggest pet peeve is the amount of text. Like people always
yes,
just jam so much text
yeah,
into anything you've made, and you're like,
yeah.
no, no one can read this on a
Yeah, and
phone screen.
also by doing that, they reduce the font size,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
not how you designed it, so it doesn't
Yeah.
work. Yeah,
Oh, it's hard. I mean, especially making something like PowerPoint or even
yeah,
Canva templates where you're
yeah,
like, I want to just truly lock this type size.
yeah.
But
It doesn't
people can
work.
always find a way to break it. But
Yeah,
the thing that I wish I did more in terms of guidelines, because I think guidelines can be as detailed as possible,
yeah,
but or as clear as possible, but everyone is different. Everyone has a different experience of software, of
mm,
what they're using.
yeah,
It can be a big thing to ask someone to even make a PowerPoint or Instagram post in Canva. And I remember even learning about this in design school, where all these like American rock star designers were like, they would go like once a year or once every few months and like re-educate people,
mm,
like internal teams. So
yeah,
you basically go and do a crit or like a feedback round of like, okay, well, I see you've done this.
yeah,
Look back at these guidelines.
yeah,
Though that thing in the guidelines means that when you do like this is breaking the rules or whatever.
yeah.
I also had actually a great project at the company Rug Vista in Sweden with my old colleague Krista Nyberg. She's on my old podcast called How
Mm,
Creatives Work, and we talk about we have built guidelines together multiple times, and really believe in that, making it as easy as possible. And what we experimented with was showing people basically like m- give really good, solid examples of the like, if you do this, you haven't
yeah,
gone wrong. Like it's not
yeah,
wrong if you've done this. It's not, it doesn't have to be
yeah,
like, oh, you must achieve the greatest design ever, but just show things of like, this is not wrong and this is wrong. Like when
yeah,
we say uh, have legible text. Here's an example of that. And here's an
yeah.
example of when you've put
Too
50
much
lines of
text.
text
Yeah.
up to the corners, you know?
Yeah. But that also makes our work so much harder. Like it
Hmm.
takes so much time to think about all the things that could go wrong because it's not natural for us to do things the wrong way, let's
No,
say. So,
exactly.
so then you have to put yourself in the client's shoe and or like kind of identify all the common mistakes that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
And they're unique at every company, so it's hard
yeah,
to, yeah, it is really hard. And I think actually maybe another solution would be to always develop them together with whoever
yes.
is going to
Yeah,
use them the most
yeah,
so that they're part of the design process almost.
yeah. I've been thinking about maybe adding like an extra service at the end of projects, like an add-on where it's thinking about how I can like a how do you call it? After care service or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where it's like maybe for a month or 3 months or 6 months you kind of is always available to kind of like check everything that
Yeah.
we make, like let's say a social media post or a flyer or something, and then go back in and tell them where it goes wrong. So it's also a bit more of a coaching, educating
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, but I don't know if it would work. Like, I mean, as a designer, I think it's a great idea, but as a client, I don't know if they would pay even more money
Yeah.
to have
I
that
think
service.
that that's one of those things that I would almost test out and just offer someone
Yeah,
or two people for
yeah,
free or super cheap in the beginning.
yeah,
Um, I've started believing a little bit more in that too. I flip-flop on these things, but I mean, I really want to be reimbursed fairly for my effort and time.
yeah.
And it can be hard when you are, especially when you're a fast designer, and people are
Mhm.
like, ah, that took 2 hours, right? And you're
Right.
like, yes, and 10 years to get
Yeah,
this
yeah,
good.
yeah. That's
Um,
true.
but I was re reading recently also about people building business and like if you can do it in order to slowly either trial a service or build trust and so on,
Mm.
to start by doing it really cheap or free for some people and then just like build it
Yeah,
up as you go because some of these things too are great ideas, but then you try it once and you're like, oh no, actually it would be
yeah.
better to just like come in a year later and do a full day workshop or
Right,
something.
right. Yeah, for sure. And I know we've both done service exchanges
Yeah,
past. I think that's also a good way to test out um new services or offers or things like that because it's like
yeah,
if everyone tests it out, it's nice.
yeah, and it
Have
becomes a
you
lot more
done?
fun. Like it's
Yeah, for
co-creative in that
sure.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Have you done more of those service exchanging?
I did at the beginning of this year, I did with two different solo entrepreneurs actually, because I was also thinking just like, okay, how do I wanted to focus more on the brand discovery process
Yeah,
because I think that is often missing for people because when you don't have a huge budget or you need to get out there, people usually just like make a quick, cool looking logo that has no uh, it has no identity, you know, it
right.
has no anchor in what they actually do and are.
Yeah,
So I tested with two different people, a sort of discovery process workshop series where we
yeah.
had 6 calls. They were 1 hour. It was mostly me interviewing them about the different things, you know, why do they have this business?
Hmm.
Who's the audience? Who do they not want to attract? Who's, you know, building
Yeah,
the context and the tone of voice?
yeah.
And then I made super simple, like 1 page visual identities for them
Hmm.
with some, you know, background graphics and so on.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, I want to try this. And then I got testimonials in
Yeah.
exchange, and it was great. You know, the
Hmm.
results are good. Um, but the learning for me too was that this um, is actually quite a big requirement on me in terms both of
Yeah.
time and effort. And so if I'm gonna do like 6 whole calls with someone,
Hmm.
I think the price point would have to be too high. So I'm rethinking
Yeah.
that a little bit. But that was sort of an exchange where um, that's been people who also like send me contacts or allow me to use everything or their I got their testimonials and their feedback on the
Hmm.
work as well. So that's my most recent one. And then
Okay,
I
that's nice.
actually
Yeah.
I keep it going with the coach I did a Skillshare with as well.
Yes.
Um, we have some things we're dreaming up right now that I will talk
Nice.
about later in the year, probably. How
Cool.
about you? Do you have any exchanges going on?
No, I haven't. I haven't done any since the one I did with the coach as well.
Mm,
It's funny how I think we did it more or less at the same time, if I remember
yeah,
well.
yeah.
No, I haven't done, but I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking about maybe the next, like, what am I struggling with right now with my business, and maybe I can find someone that can help me with that specific part I'm
Mm,
struggling with. And
yeah,
then if it happens that they're struggling with their branding part, then maybe we can find a service exchange there. So I
yeah.
think it's really nice. Um, because I always struggle with finding the balance between learning things, new things myself, um, and spending time there,
Hmm.
or hiring, but then it means it's a big cost,
Yeah,
which I can't always afford. So if I can, if we can help each other out, that would be really nice.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I haven't, I don't know where at the
Yeah,
moment.
it's also another effort to like find those things. Maybe okay. I'll talk to you outside this call later.
Okay, wow, maybe
Uh,
that's something, a
yeah.
secret.
But just speaking of like having worked through process through exchanges and so on, and with your focus on solo entrepreneurs, I saw you were posting recently about your onboarding form and so on
Yeah.
that you do with
Oh yeah.
people ahead of time. And you do not need to give away that form in this call,
Mm.
but I'm super curious about that kind of thing. Like, how do you feel that changes your work with the brand design process? You can describe what this form is, maybe
Yeah.
too.
So it's a form I send out at the beginning of, like, once we've signed the contract. So it's the very first thing I do when I do branding process, when in projects. It's a form that is separated in two parts. So the first part is more about the brand essence, like the strategy part. So why did this person start their own business? What's the story behind it? What's some goals that they have in the next year? What are their dreams
Mm,
in the long run, short and long run? What are what else do I have in there? I was looking at it this morning, but yeah, questions like that, like what's their target audience? Yeah, I think there's like 10 questions in total in that first part. And then the second part is more about the visual part. So
mm,
if they have like inspiration, if they have ideas of what they want their brand to look like, if they have like brands or businesses that they're inspired by, in terms of visual, but also in terms of like content or the way that
yeah.
they, operate. Um, yeah, and I think it's really nice. So it's funny because this morning I was going through um, one of my recent clients' reply, and you can see that she's very dedicated in in her answers, and I've never had someone answer it so seriously with
Yeah.
like bullet points, things
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
underlined and everything. Everything is so clear and well thought through,
Yeah.
which really helps me because then I don't have to do any guessing game. It's just
Yeah.
I just know exactly what they want in terms of their business vision, and then
Yeah.
my job is just to translate that vision into a visual form. So
Yeah.
it really helps, and I think it also really helps to have this form ready and prepared, and that I don't always have to think about what kind of questions I need to ask during the call. Of
Yeah.
course, some of the questions we tackle like naturally during like the discovery call or the first call or whatever, but yeah, it really helps. I think it simplifies the process. It also helps. So this case that I am talking about, she knows the answers, so it was easy for her to answer. But it also helps if the client is a little bit unclear about all those
Yeah.
questions. Then it kind of forces them to kind of sit down and go through the answers and doing that hard work
Yeah.
before um before going into the visuals, because I think that's also another problem, right? That I used to have when I didn't have this process in place at the beginning of freelance work, where
Yeah.
they come in, clients come in and they're like, I want the blue this, I want this, and they don't really know why they wanted blue. They just wanted blue.
Yeah.
And whereas I feel like now that I have this questionnaire and that it's set, like their actual goals are, I can explain why blue is not the right option, because
Yeah.
then blue doesn't mean doesn't it won't be perceived the way they want it to be perceived as.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
helps.
And I mean, you get to avoid sort of the trend trap as well with people.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, no, I really, it's funny too that you mentioned the how when people know more already that it's easier to hit the ball rolling
Mm,
because I really love that. I've had projects that go so smoothly because someone comes in and it's just like, this is who I am. I am
mm,
talking to this group of people. I
mm.
exist here. This is my mission. I'm gonna do this. And then I'm energized and I'm just like, yes,
Yeah.
let's go. And we're doing it. And then the only problem sometimes with that is that the project goes so fast and I'm like, wait, what happened?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there are parts sometimes where I like that middle ground too, because yes,
Mm,
from scratch, if someone comes to me and is like, I don't know what my business is,
yeah.
then branding isn't supposed to happen yet.
Yeah. It's too early.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when people have questions and you get to have those conversations back and forth where you're just like, okay, well, let's imagine or let's
Yeah.
get a little bit into. That's why I love asking people about like, well, who shouldn't interact with you or like
Yeah.
what aren't you? What's the opposite, because that
Yeah.
brings people into that conversation of knowing who they are. But the middle ground, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a final answer on that. I really like that having the projects that are smooth rides because people know everything. And then I also enjoy being the brand therapist a little bit.
Yeah. 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 I really like that. But I think sometimes for me, it's a bit harder to be the brand therapist. Like the I don't know, it depends, but I feel like I am better at like capturing what energy they're putting through, kind of to say,
Yeah,
where I can understand what they mean, even if they don't have the right words
yeah,
for
yeah,
it. But it's hard for me if someone comes in and they have no idea, and then I have to play the guessing game, and
yeah.
then I'm not sure, then I have a big imposter syndrome.
Yeah, no, I think it's so that intuition thing of
Yeah,
hearing between the lines. I
yeah,
think that's really important for brand designers or creatives. I think that's also where that's something I feel is a strength of mine when I work with clients
yeah,
because I also have the luck of working long term with some clients on anything, and I know that I've done my job right when they complain about other creatives who don't like read their minds.
right.
And I'm like, well, obviously
Yeah,
that's a lot to ask, but at the same time, it's a good
yeah.
skill to have to like listen about what people are really saying or feeling.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is a strength. Um, and also I feel like depending, so for me, the clients that I work with are also more, they understand this intuitive part because they're working in like the creatives,
Yeah.
the creatives are also listening to their intuition, and they kind of go with whatever they're feeling and going with the flow. Wellness experts are also very in tune with that intuition and sensitivity. So I feel like we speak the same language, but and that if I would speak the marketing scary languages, or like,
Mhm.
all this too corporate, it would also scare my clients away, I
Yeah.
think. So
Yeah.
I used to feel self-conscious about not knowing all the terms and the marketing terms, and because the strategy part, because I know it's important, but I also don't want to go too corporate in that way.
Yeah. I mean, because you almost risk getting into being a brand strategist
Yeah, yeah,
person instead.
yeah,
No, I get what you're saying. And honestly, I kind of want to work more on that personable level,
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Speaking of that, I had a question earlier. Do
Mhm.
you feel like what would you feel is the perfect time to hire a brand designer?
Mm. Oh, that's such a good question. I think people should do it a little earlier than they think. I mean, businesses grow in such different ways. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily the first thing you need to do.
Mm,
If you don't have a case or any form of inkling that people are gonna buy your service or product or
yeah.
whatever, then I see a lot of people who basically are like, well, we can't do anything until we have a logo. and
Yeah.
that I don't think is true. Um, I think it's better to do something that's just, I don't know, I mean, posting photos of what you're doing or
Yeah.
uh, talking to real human beings in the field somewhere. So I
Mhm.
don't think people should do it at the get-go, but once people have an idea of um, what the thing actually is and starting to have the contours of who they're going to talk to and how it's going to work, but you maybe don't have like the exact marketing strategy yet. You maybe don't have the exact um, location. You maybe don't have like
Mm.
everything fully in place. I think it's good to start talking to a brand designer
Yeah.
at that point
Yeah.
because that's, at least to me, that's when you get to hear a little bit of the different reasons for different things rather
Yeah.
than something that may have been decided by committee by people who maybe don't have that, especially intuitive, more like human uh, feeling for things
Yeah.
for the creative part. Does
Mm.
that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It's like finding the balance between, I feel like brand design can also help you make decisions, like
Yeah,
kind of what I was saying earlier with like and thinking about answers to these important questions. So I feel like if it's too early, then you'll be confused and you don't know where exactly you're going. If you know too much, but you haven't had any visuals, then it's also hard because then not hard, but like then you have to refresh all your visuals.
yeah, yeah,
And I feel like there's a nice balance of um when the time is right in the middle of these two, where you know where you're going, and also working on branding can solidify your project and be like, okay, this is where I'm going now, and it helps guide
yeah.
you as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because the branding process is also this selection process where you
yeah,
realize, oh yeah, we talk about um, being a really positive and upbeat brand, but we realize that when we design that way with, I don't know, lots of yellow and
yeah,
sparkles, that doesn't speak of this other
yeah,
thing. And so
yeah,
then you kind of rewrite things a little bit. But I also just think that branding or any form of brand positioning and so on is never this like stone monument that's
yes,
set. You
yeah,
know, you have a core, but that's also what I want people to do more is kind of naturally evolve their
yeah,
brands as they go along.
yeah, for sure. I think it's important because I've recently started using the word, like asking the clients I'm working with, like, what chapter are you in your business?
Yeah.
Because I feel like and I know you too, went through different chapters as an entrepreneur and a solopreneur. And I feel like each chapter can almost have its own style, visual style, kind of like artists that are coming up with new albums every
Hmm.
few years, and then they create the whole visual style and colors and um clothes and everything that goes
Yeah.
with that album. I feel like the same with solopreneurs can happen, right? Where it's like the core is the same, the essence is the same, but like the way we put ourselves out there or the people we're targeting is different. And I think that's
Yeah.
okay. Um,
Yeah. I
doesn't
think
have
so.
how sad would it be if a brand, and not sad, but like how, not boring, but you know what I mean, like monotone, if you're doing the same thing for
Yeah.
forever and you feel like you cannot get away from this direction just because you hire the brand designer that your logo
Yeah.
fits or the colors are like that.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think, I mean, the lifetime of a brand, I feel like it's somewhere between like a brand identity is somewhere between
Yeah.
5, 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe anyone who's
Depending on,
listening,
yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
hard data. I'm
For sure.
speculating.
Yeah. And
Um,
you, speaking of new chapter, you also recently changed your main brand color.
yeah,
You went from green.
heartbreaking in a
Yeah.
way.
Your iconic green
Yeah,
disappeared.
no, but so technically it's not disappeared. It's just pausing a little bit. But
Okay.
I believe in playing with my own brand. I'm just like
Yeah.
if I don't, this is the brand I have that I can play with all the time.
Yeah.
And technically, it's bad practice to change things up often
Yeah.
because I mean, when it comes to recognition visually
Yeah.
across that it is important to be consistent, but the way I play with it myself is usually like, okay, I've had the same font
Yeah.
for at least 5 years, if not more.
Yeah.
Um, the green has sort of like I stagger the changes a little bit
Yeah.
so that I'm almost coming back now to a type of framing that I used a few years ago as well.
Interesting.
And so to me, I'm just also I am it's that thing that is so true for so many businesses where it's like you do it really well for others and for
Yes,
yourself
I
not so
know.
much. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to send people to my website because it's just like uh, yeah, I'm not a web designer. Let's put
Yeah.
that out there. But um, yeah, I think it's fun to play with it. I want to perhaps this is also the big struggle for me is that I kind of have flip-flopped in the past between wanting to present more as freelancer me, just the guy, and really leaning into that feeling of it being a studio.
Right.
And I want to explore that part more now
The studio
because it
part?
is a studio. Yeah, it is I would love to collaborate with other
Yeah.
designers or art directors, photographers, and so on bigger projects. So I'll just like out myself as someone who's about to start talking about my company as a studio more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that choice, was it a conscious choice or did you, because you've always been under studio otherwise, right? Or is that
No,
a new thing?
I changed the name. I started my business in Sweden, and then it was
Yeah.
called that technically it didn't have a name because in Sweden you only register with your legal name if you're
Oh,
a
okay.
like
Yeah.
sole proprietor. But I
Yeah.
called it just like it was just like Anders.design.
Okay.
Um, and then I moved to the Netherlands and changed it to Anders Creative because I was working more broadly. That is my registered business name, technically, but I have two trade names. So it's
Okay.
Anders Creative, more the freelancer perhaps, and
Yeah.
Studio Otherwise, the studio part.
Okay.
And that's been around for like only 3 years, I think, or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just it comes from me getting all this admin mail when I first moved to the Netherlands, and it says like Lieve Anders, but it
Yeah.
translates to Dear Otherwise,
Yeah.
because my name
That's
just
so
translates to
funny.
that. So I got away with it, like it's my name, but it's not my name. So
Yeah. I really like that because it also works really well as a creative studio, like
yeah,
other, I
it
think it's
feels
nice.
right, and that's why I want to like play with my branding too, because
Yeah.
right now it looks kind of sterile, and I'm like otherwise weird other.
Mm.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you also have the name.
Yeah, I do. I added studio like in the last few years, I would
Uh,
say. I didn't used to call it Gapog Studio. I am officially registered as Gapog,
mm,
which is my first name and my last name combined.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about maybe changing it, but also I like it. I don't know. Because I
yeah,
feel like when I registered, it was just because I had to find a name, and that was what my Instagram account was called.
yeah,
Um, and the reason I did that is also because as I have many G's and T's and vowels in my name, then no one really knew how to spell it.
yeah,
So I thought if I combined it and it looks kind of cool with all these G's
yeah,
and P's. But it's not, I don't know, a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it's memorable, blah, blah, which I don't really care about because visually it works.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, but recently I started adding studio to it because I just feel like it sounds nice, first of
yeah,
all. And also it feels like now that I have a clear direction of the people I want to work with and how I want to work, it feels nice to have it under called studio in a way, because then if in the future I want to collaborate with other creatives or I want to hire people,
yeah,
then it makes more sense to call it studio rather than my name, even if it's
yeah.
not really my name, you know?
No, I know. I mean, it was
Yeah.
kind of the exact same for
Yeah.
me. And you really can have, no one says how big a studio has to be. A
Right.
studio
Yeah.
also suggests a space.
Yeah.
You know, an artist's studio is
One
assumed to
room.
be one artist, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. I
why
know.
not?
It's funny. Did you have I know my friend Anais here, she had this an argument, she's in the call. Because right off the bat she called her studio un plus un studio.
Mm,
And someone, I remember she had a comment, someone like told her, why are you calling it a studio if you're your own person? Like she was like, she felt cheated on, kind of, that person.
yeah,
Whereas like, you're
yeah,
lying to me. But she never pretended that she was more than one person behind the brand.
yeah,
So I don't know, some people might see it as like cheating, like we're trying to make it sound bigger than
yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, I think I feel like it must be rare because
Yeah.
it's so common too with design, graphic
Yeah.
design branding that people start and it's like one or two people and they're like
Mhm.
our team, our international team or
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Um it's I keep quoting this series, Life of Beth. There's a moment where someone like tells a little white lie to get someone to do something and someone
Yeah.
else reacts and she's like, "Yes, I lied." It's just like, yes. Um, but I don't think it's a
That's
lie
nice.
to
Yeah.
say that you're a studio, even if you're one
No.
person. And to me, there's also this thing where I'm just like, well, if if you want to hire a larger team
Mm.
of creatives, I can put that together in a week for
Yeah.
you as well. So, you know, my studio can collaborate with other people.
Right.
What's the problem?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the problem? And do you, how, I don't know if on your website do you say I or we?
Right now I say I, and I'm about to change it to we, I
Okay.
think. Because I also want to collaborate more with
Yeah.
people, like you're saying.
Yeah. Makes
Um,
sense.
because it's also, you know, I have had this like slow shift away from the actual graphic design part of my
Hmm.
job. Um, because I realized that fluffy, abstract concept and direction side of things, not only is it something I enjoy more, but it's also something that over the years, I'm just like, well, when I do that part, I am happier with the project. Like to me, there's something magic that happens
Yeah.
with projects when I've done that part more so when I sit and make graphic design is so fun and
Hmm.
but I have like fought it for many years, but I will fully confess that I am not detail oriented.
Right.
Like I that doesn't like fill me with the most joy. I do it and I mean I
Mm.
do it well because I also do graphic design for some clients
Yeah.
because I wear many hats. But
Yeah.
so what I was gonna say with that is that I would love to work more with designers who
Mm.
want to do that part
Right.
and have that combination.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And to kind of start, like, fake it until you make it, kind of like start using we, even if you're alone for now, and then
Yeah, and
we'll
even
just all follow the same.
with some clients, I feel like I could be like, "Hey, I want to try uh, like
Yes. Yeah.
building out how I work. If you
Yeah.
have a project, or if you know, are willing to work that way with me, that's also a conversation you can just have with the
Yeah.
right people.
Yeah. For
Who would you
sure.
want to collaborate with? Like, what kind of talent would you want to collaborate with?
An interior designer, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because I really also want to, I'm really interested in interior design. I love it.
Yeah.
But I just don't have the either the technical knowledge, if you need one, or the experience in it, apart from my own house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, which is not even a house, but like my own space.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's something that I think it's really interesting when you combine the branding and the interior design for, again, a cafe or a hotel. I think my dream project would be to design a hotel and like
Mm, yeah.
be collaborating with the interior designer or the architects,
Yeah.
uh, and make it all cohesive, because I think each medium can tell a different story. So you can tell a part of the brand in the visual identity, but you can tell another part of the story with the wall colors or
Yeah.
furniture and all that. So I think, yeah, I think that would be great. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
a
I would
great
love to see that.
collaboration. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe also, yeah, I think that would be the main thing. So I'm thinking maybe a website designer, because that's not what I really enjoy doing, but I also know how to do it. I just don't, it's not my favorite part, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Oh, these are such good questions. I would like to try more sort of artistic intervention or like installation as well. So
Mm,
I mean,
yeah,
yes, also space, but
yeah,
on the I'm just like, oh, it would be cool to work with museums or
yeah.
artists and just see um, what that would be because I'm curious about it. I don't know what that would
Mm,
look like. I've worked with
yeah,
dancers. That's some of my favorite
nice.
work because it like stretches my brain.
Yeah.
So like stage, that would be cool to do more of like scenography. That's if you've watched Abstract on Netflix, I love the scenography episode of that. I
I
was just
haven't seen,
like, what is
I've
this?
watched a few episodes, but I don't think I've saw the sonography one. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out because I love, um, yeah, I love how, like, one of the parts of graphic design and brand design that I love the most is when I see my project in real life.
yeah,
So that's one of the things that made reminded me, like working for the cafe and having menus printed, reminded me how much I love that part as well. Just having something go from screen to physical paper.
yeah,
Where because recently I've done mostly like digital stuff, like social
yeah,
media templates
yeah,
or something like that, which it's not the same feeling. So having it become like a physical object, whether it's a furniture or like as you said, like something for theater or something where you design it or you draw it and then it becomes a real prop.
yeah, yeah,
That's so fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
one thing I love also looking at is I follow this designer that she works on graphic design for TV and like movies and TV shows.
yeah.
So like for example, she has been working on The Bear. You know, have you seen
Oh
The Bear?
yeah,
Yeah.
I have to start season three. I'm just nervous because
Okay.
nobody liked it, but we're catching up and
Okay.
we love it. Me and my husband, that
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I love it. And if you look at everything in it, like all the invoices or the
Yeah,
everything, like in that room where they have lots
yeah,
of paper, someone
yeah,
designed that. And I think
yeah,
it's so incredible that she puts in so much work and detail on something that is barely seen on screen
yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes not even shot, like because it's like a deleted scene or something. And
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't happen. I think it's so
Oh, send this
fascinating.
person to me. I remember
Yeah,
actually we had someone come to my school in DC and he was this super cool designer. I don't remember what he really did, but he talked about his wife who worked on this kind of thing. He's like, yeah, see these signs in this movie, see
yeah,
all the stuff in like Lost. She designed
yes,
the graphic design. I'm like,
yeah,
what? That's a
yeah.
job? That's crazy.
And I think I don't know if it was in The Bear or another movie, but they had a full box of 80s porn magazines
Yeah.
that they had in the movie, and they had to design that
Yeah.
because they cannot use real ones because then they don't have the rights to use
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
They
yeah.
had to design it and then they had to come up with names and
Yeah.
then they had to like go through legal
Hmm.
fact check to see
Yeah.
that it's not a real name. I think that's so fun. Like putting in so much effort in something that's not even real or like something that is
Yeah.
a joke. I think it's my favorite type of
Yeah.
form. Like it's so detail oriented.
Yeah. Well, it's also
Or
this like I think actually it makes so much sense for someone who works in branding to love that kind of thing because
yeah,
it's a storytelling, it's a
yeah,
world building. Like a lot of branding, you're putting in details that like evoke the
hmm,
world that you've created for this brand, and
yeah,
that kind of work feels very connected to that.
yeah, for sure. It's really, really nice. I'm gonna send it to you. I know Annie Atkins is a famous one. I don't know if you know her.
Mhm.
She's the one that did most of Wes Anderson's work. So that's how she,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
just
there's
saw the Phoenician scheme in theaters. I really liked it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she probably designed some of the things for him.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if she worked on this movie, but and then there's this other one that I'm thinking of. I'm gonna send it to you. The one that
yeah.
worked on there. And her Instagram is awesome because she shares all the behind the scenes
Yes, I love
and
it.
everything. Yeah.
This is my favorite kind of thing to see is behind the scenes.
For sure.
I'm mindful of the time. I'll just give
Yeah.
another shout out to if any audience members want us to talk about anything specific for like a minute, feel free to put it in the chat. There's no pressure. I want to ask you if you have like a favorite project you've done that you've put out into the world.
Hmm. think it's always hard because my mind always blanks and I
Or
think
one
about
you
the
liked. It doesn't have to be your favorite.
um one project that I really liked working on, it was at the beginning of being a freelancer. I helped a friend of a friend design a clothing brand, which is called
Mm.
Love Sis, that it's still on my website, I think. It was really fun because I worked with another, so our friend in common, she's the one that put me on the project, and
Mm.
she's a um creative, but she doesn't like to do the executive part. So she likes to come up with ideas, a bit like you, like she likes to come up with ideas and help, and then someone else does it. So I'm that someone else in this project. And it was really fun collaborating with, first of all, a friend, but also like a creative mind.
Yeah.
Um, and then we put up a work that we were happy with. Sadly, the brand doesn't exist anymore because it was too hard to
Mm.
keep up.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if it's my favorite result, but it was one of my favorite collaborations because it's
Yeah.
working on your own all the time, which I love, but it's just like it's nice to have a change of pace sometime and work with someone else, come up with
Yeah.
new ideas. Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah. I mean, so often the process can be more important than the
Yeah.
outcome too.
Yeah, definitely. Because also like the relationship with the client, and it immediately makes the project more fun, or more like I want to put more care in the project if I
Yeah.
have a good feeling with the client as well, and or if they're not too like all over the place, or their feedback doesn't make sense, or like I don't know, that makes, even if I like the end result, then I don't like that project as much
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the end, right?
Yeah. And then you forget it existed after like two
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, or sometimes like if they take forever to pay or something like that, like something
Ah,
admin related, and then you're like, oh, I don't, that was annoying. Like
yeah.
it kind of ruins the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah, it truly does. I did that
Yeah.
last year. I had to break up with a
Yeah.
client
Oh my
for
God, you
that.
went on a whole a whole journey.
Yeah, I appreciate lawyers these days. It wasn't too much hassle in the end, but
Yeah,
a sour situation.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Pay your creatives, people.
Yes. And don't take too long to pay them, please.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool. I don't think we have any questions, right?
No, I don't think so.
For now.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any trouble filling the time, so
Yeah,
that's
I know.
okay.
I always love talking to you and answering your questions because
Likewise.
it
Yeah,
helps.
super fun. I want to do this again. I'm so glad. Yeah, this was fun to do. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining and thank you for inviting people. Everyone who's listening in right now, thank you for listening in. We'll post the video, maybe audio, who knows, somewhere soon.
Right.
I'll announce it, or we will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Gaia,
are
thank you so much.
you, yeah, thank you. Oh,
Oh, some thanks.
both building and fake brands. Oh yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
send, are you doing a email recap with the link to the recording or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
I'll do that, and
Okay.
then we can share some links of the
Yeah,
things
maybe
mentioned.
we can put in that I'm gonna look up this designer and then put it in the email as well.
Yeah, and then we can put where people can find us too. I know these are
Yes.
people we know and so on,
Yeah.
but of course we love a little follow or support in any
Yeah,
way.
for sure. Thank you for joining and
Thank
thank you for
you.
inviting me. This was really fun.
Yeah, it was so
Do
great.
it
Thank you.
again.
Have a lovely day, everybody.
Have a nice day. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.